Hello everybody, I'm going to show you how to create your own podcast in GarageBand. The first thing you want to do is go open up the GarageBand application, and then this screen will pop up. Click New Project, and then click over to Podcast, and choose. And then this will pop up, the New Project from Template. So you got to say, what do you want to save it as? I'm going to save it as Podcast Test. And I'm going to save it to my desktop. It'll ask you the tempo, the signature, the keys. I like to leave that all the same because their setup is actually really well and it sounds really good. So go to Create, and my timeline will pop up. So since I am just doing this by myself, I'm going to delete the female voice track. These are our tracks, the male, female, and jingles. So I'm going to click on the female voice track, and then I'm going to go to the top of my screen, track, delete track, and it'll leave me my male and my jingles. Okay, so now you're ready to create your podcast. So click on the male voice, and then click the record button when you're ready to go. Hello, I am creating my first podcast in GarageBand. And to stop, I hit the record button again, or the space bar. And let's go back and listen to it. Hello, I am creating my first podcast in GarageBand. Okay, so there you go for your first track. Let's add a multiple track right here, another one. Hello, I will teach you how to create a podcast in GarageBand. How to create a podcast in GarageBand. And you can stop and start each one just by hitting the space bar. So if I want to overlap these tracks, I can cut. And to make a cut, you wait till this little square, or not square, this little thing pops up, and then you move it over and highlight what you want to delete. So you highlight it, and then you hit the delete button. Okay, this will shorten it. So now let's say I want to move it over to make it flush into my other one. I can just overlap it, and let's go back and listen to it. Hello, I am creating my first podcast in GarageBand. Hello, I will teach you how to create a podcast in GarageBand. Okay, after doing that, let's say you want to add jingles to your podcast. I am going to go down and click on this little button that looks like an eye. It's a loop browser. You click on that and go to either jingles, sound effects, favorites. I'm just going to click on all effects. And let's say you want to click on a sound effect or some kind of music that is country. Okay, let's go down and see here. I'm just going to pick a random one. Let's do Dust Bowl. Okay, that one sounds good for me. Okay, what I want to do is I want to click and drag Dust Bowl. Well, first of all, before that, you want to go over and click on your jingles tracks, because you don't want it to drag onto your male voice track. So you click on that one, and you drag it over. Let's drag it to the beginning of the timeline. Okay, there's my Dust Bowl track. And I'm not going to need this whole Dust Bowl track for the intro, so let's cut it. Let me double click on this. And now let's edit it. Let's see, how long should this be? Let's make it 3 seconds, right around in there. I'm going to click on it. I am going to drag my cursor over and highlight the rest of it that I don't need. And now hit the delete button. Okay, so this is going to be my intro to my podcast. So what I want to do is go up to male voice, click on it, highlight my 2 male voices, and drag it over so it's There we go. Okay, now this is what it's going to sound like for my intro. Hello, I am creating my first podcast in GarageBand. Hello, I will teach you how to create a podcast in GarageBand. Okay, and basically you can go from there. You can add any more sound effects that you would like. I'm just going to leave it at this. If you want to change the track's volume, all you have to do is click on the track you want to change. Okay, let's make this audio a little higher. It's at 0 dBs right now. I'm going to move it up to a 0.4 dBs, make it a little louder. And this one I'm going to make, actually I'm going to make this one a little lower here. Let's do -4.8. And now let's listen to it. Hello, I am creating my first podcast in GarageBand. Hello, I will teach you how to create a podcast in GarageBand. And that's all you have to do. The next thing you want to do when you want to export your podcast is go up to Share at the top of your screen and send the podcast to iTunes. Okay, then it'll ask you what you want to save it as in your iTunes library. I'm just going to put podcast test. And you can put different things for the album name, the composer, and everything. But I'm just doing this for test. So, compression type, I always use MP3 encoder. You can use AAC, but I would recommend MP3. Okay, now the audio settings. I like to use either spoken podcast or musical podcast. Your mono podcast is going to be your lowest quality, while your highest quality is, of course, going to be the high quality. So basically you need to figure out, it'll tell you the estimated size down here on the bottom, which is 0.2 megabytes. So let's say we wanted to do a high quality, and that's going to move it up to 0.2, but the bigger your file gets, the more megabytes you're going to take up. So I would recommend either doing spoken or musical. These are both going to sound pretty good if you want to upload them to YouTube or wherever you want to. So I'm just going to stick with musical, and I'm going to hit share and continue. And it's creating my mix. After it exports to iTunes, it'll pop up your iTunes right here. Hello, I am creating my first podcast in GarageBand. Hello, I will teach you how to create a podcast in GarageBand. And there you have created your podcast to upload either to iTunes, YouTube, or whatever you want. So that's how you do it, and I hope you enjoyed this video.